The invisible tax, how professional isolation costs Black leaders $250,000 and what we can do about it. Good evening, everyone. I'm honored to stand before you today to share profound insights from my recent interview with Elizabeth Utterback, a visionary change agent whose groundbreaking work is revolutionizing how we understand Black leadership development in corporate America. Elizabeth isn't just researching disparities, she's quantifying them, naming them, and building solutions that are transforming the professional landscape for generations to come. Her ability to convert the intangible burdens of isolation into concrete metrics has made her one of the most important voices in the conversation about equity in professional spaces today. What struck me most in our conversation was the moment Elizabeth looked me directly in the eyes and said, isolation isn't just painful, it's expensive. This simple statement crystallizes the story I want to share with you today: how professional isolation becomes a tangible, measurable tax on Black leadership, and how intentional community can become the dividend that changes everything. We often discuss representation challenges using abstract terminology. We talk about being the only one in the room or the emotional labor of code switching. These experiences are real, but they've remained frustratingly difficult to quantify until now. Elizabeth Utterback's research has uncovered something staggering, something that should stop every corporate leader, every AR executive, and every board member in their tracks. Black men in corporate leadership positions often have fewer than three close professional friends. Three. Let that sink in for a moment. In environments where relationship capital is the primary currency for advancement, this isolation isn't just emotionally taxing, it has measurable, devastating financial consequences. The lack of trusted advisors costs Black executives an estimated $20,000 to $50,000 annually in lost earnings potential. Without experienced guidance, critical career decisions are made in isolation, often leading to wrong moves and missed opportunities. Over 5 years, the absence of strong referral networks, people who mention your name in important rooms when you're not there, can result in $50,000 to $250,000 in missed opportunities. This is not just about feelings. This is about finances. This is about futures. This is about generational wealth. When Elizabeth shared these numbers with me, I had to pause our interview. The implications are staggering. We're not just talking about abstract concepts of belonging. We're talking about a quantifiable tax that affects career trajectories, family financial security, and the entire landscape of corporate leadership. The isolation tax manifests in three critical ways that Elizabeth Utterback identified in our conversation. First, there's the decision making deficit. When facing pivotal career choices, whether to take that promotion, how to navigate a difficult workplace situation, when to leave for a better opportunity, Black executives often lack peers who understand both the professional landscape and the unique racial dynamics at play. Making these decisions without experienced guidance leads to costly missteps that their more connected counterparts simply don't face. Second, there's the visibility gap. In corporate environments, opportunities often flow through informal networks. Without advocates who consistently mention your name in rooms where decisions are made, your exceptional work remains unseen. Elizabeth pointed out that this invisibility compounds over time, creating what she calls the missing multiplier effect, where each advancement not achieved means exponentially more opportunities lost down the line. Third, there's the innovation penalty. Isolation doesn't just affect individual careers, it impacts organizational outcomes. When Black leaders lack safe spaces to test ideas and receive feedback before presenting them more broadly, Valuable innovations may never see the light of day. Companies lose out on diverse thinking, and Black professionals lose opportunities to be recognized for their creative contributions. But Elizabeth Utterback isn't just documenting problems, she's building solutions. This brings me to the first key insight from our interview: the power of intentional community. The Black executive men community, which Elizabeth highlighted in our conversation, was launched specifically to address the professional isolation experienced by Black men in corporate America. This isn't just another networking group, it's a carefully designed ecosystem connecting Black executives with trusted peers who understand their unique challenges, senior leaders who provide real sponsorship, and a brotherhood that combines professional support with personal understanding. What makes this approach different is its specificity. General diversity initiatives often fail to address the particular isolation that Black leaders face. By creating spaces where Black professionals can connect with peers who understand their unique experiences, organizations like BM are addressing both the emotional and financial consequences of isolation. Elizabeth shared the story of Marcus, a senior director at a Fortune 100 company who was considering leaving his position after being passed over for promotion despite exceptional performance. Isolated, he assumed this was his only option. But through BEM, he connected with three other executives who had navigated similar situations successfully. Their guidance helped him develop a strategic approach that not only secured his promotion 6 months later, but positioned him for even greater advancement. That guidance was worth approximately $85,000 in immediate compensation and potentially millions over the course of his career. The second key insight from my interview with Elizabeth focuses on mental health. For Black professionals to thrive, mental health resources must be culturally responsive and accessible. Elizabeth shared the powerful example of Empathy Mental Health, a Milwaukee based nonprofit launched by Black professionals to address mental health needs in the Black community. In Milwaukee County, 1 in 4 adults experiences a mental health condition, with people of color facing disproportionate diagnoses and Black residents having some of the highest emergency room visits for psychiatric crises. The mental load of constant code switching and being the only one creates an unseen performance tax that drains energy and creativity. Organizations like Empathy Mental Health demonstrate the importance of having mental health services designed specifically with Black communities in mind. What makes this initiative remarkable is how it brings together Black professionals with expertise in medicine, behavioral health, addiction treatment, and faith based recovery to provide culturally responsive mental health care. The founders came together over a shared concern about Black people in Milwaukee not being able to access quality mental health care, and their work aims to break down existing barriers and disparities. Elizabeth told me about Jamal, a high potential executive whose career was nearly derailed by anxiety and burnout. Traditional therapy hadn't helped because his therapist couldn't understand the unique stressors he faced as the only Black leader in his organization. Through a culturally responsive program, he found not only healing, but strategies specifically designed for navigating his professional environment while protecting his mental health. Today, he's thriving in a C suite position and mentoring others facing similar challenges. This brings me to the third key insight Elizabeth Utterback shared. Sustainable change requires institutional commitment to developing Black leadership. Individual resilience and community support are essential, but they're not enough. Systems must change too. Elizabeth pointed to SUNY's Black Leadership Institute as an example of how organizations can make strategic investments in professional development that recognize the unique barriers faced by Black professionals while creating pathways to executive leadership positions. SUNY committed to becoming the most inclusive university system in the country, recognizing that leadership at the highest levels must understand various backgrounds and perspectives. Their Leadership Institute focuses on educating leaders about unique geographic, social, and cultural differences within campus communities and key strategies to facilitate student success. What's particularly powerful about this approach is how it creates pathways to leadership roles at the university president and president's cabinet level, including provosts, deans, chief financial officers, and chief business officers. This isn't just about representation, it's about transformation of the entire leadership ecosystem. When I asked Elizabeth about the most important lesson she's learned in her work, she shared something profound. Isolation isn't inevitable, it's infrastructural. The barriers Black professionals face aren't natural or necessary, they're the result of systems designed without their success in mind. But those systems can be redesigned, new infrastructure can be built. This is where Elizabeth Utterback's work becomes truly revolutionary. By quantifying the isolation tax, she's moved the conversation from the realm of feelings to the realm of facts. By building community solutions, she's demonstrating that isolation isn't inevitable. And by advocating for institutional change, she's showing how systems can be transformed. The implications extend far beyond individual careers. When Black leaders thrive, organizations perform better, innovation increases, perspectives broaden, problems get solved in new ways. The isolation tax isn't just paid by Black professionals, it's paid by every organization that misses out on their full contributions, by every industry that lacks their insights, by our entire economy that needs their leadership. What would our corporate landscape look like if the isolation tax were eliminated? What innovations might emerge? What problems might be solved? What leaders might rise? These are the questions Elizabeth Utterback's work compels us to ask. So, where do we go from here? The path forward requires action at every level: individual, community, and institutional. For individuals experiencing this isolation, know that you are not alone in your aloneness. The tax you're paying is real, it's measurable, and it's not your fault. Seek out communities specifically designed for your experience. Your career and your mental health depend on it. For organizations, the data is clear. The isolation tax is costing you talent, innovation, and potential. It's time to move beyond diversity statements to building specific infrastructure that connects Black professionals with the mentorship, sponsorship, and peer support they need to thrive. For all of us in this room tonight, we face a choice. We can continue to accept systems that tax some while privileging others, or we can become architects of new possibilities. We can quantify what was previously unmeasured, name what was previously unnamed, and build what was previously unimagined. The isolation tax has been hidden in plain sight for too long. Now that we can see it, measure it, and understand its impact, we have a moral obligation to eliminate it, not just for the sake of equity, but for the future we could create together when every leader has the community they need to reach their full potential. I challenge you to take one specific action this week. Connect with someone experiencing professional isolation. Examine how your organization's networks either perpetuate isolation or foster connection. Support institutions building new infrastructure for Black leadership development. Because when we dismantle the isolation tax, we don't just advance individual careers, we unleash the full potential of human talent and perspective. we create a world where leadership reflects the full diversity of the society it serves. And that's a world worth building, one connection, one community, one institution at a time. Thank you.